So let me all guys welcome you on our discussion panel. It's the last part of our hangout today. Let's quickly jump into it, shall we? Before we start, there are two QR codes as I presented before. The first one on the left is a QR code for feedback form for the whole event as well as for our presenters. So please take some time, maybe now or as you will be listening to us or after the panel, and give some feedback to our presenters because they really did a lot of work to prepare, and we would really love to hear feedback from you on that. And also there is a QR code for Slido from which we will be taking some questions for you. You can upvote them or downvote them there, and also we will be taking questions from there, but as well as from the chat, so you can add some questions on the chat. So I will also handle that, hopefully. Okay, so without further ado, let me show you who is going to speak with me together today. So since I'm still talking, I will introduce myself. Again, I'm Adam, and I'm an iOS developer at Netguru and also React Native team leader. Maybe I will allow the other ones to introduce themselves. So maybe let's start with the ladies. So Anya.
Good evening, dear audience. My name is Anya, and I am senior iOS developer and team leader at Netguru. And I work at Netguru, I think already a bit more than 2 years and a half yet. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So maybe now let's move on to Android team. So Gabriel.
So yeah, hi. My name is Gabriel. I'm senior Android developer and Android team leader. Android development team leader. And yeah, I work in Netguru for like 2 years and a bit. Yeah, so more than 2 years, and I'm really happy for being there with you.
Thank you very much, Gabs. And let's go back to iOS team. So Paweł. Kozielecki.
Hello everyone, my name is Paweł. I'm an iOS tech lead here at Netguru. I've been working here for almost a year, and it's great to have you all. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, Paweł Wysowski from React Native team.
Hi, I'm Paweł, and as Adam said, I'm from React Native team. I'm a React Native developer, just React Native developer, and I've been working in Netguru for 6 months now.
Okay, thank you guys. I close the screen so we can all focus on talking. And so just a reminder, you can post some questions on the chat, but I will just move to slide. Open it so I can see clearly. Okay, we have first question from Maciek. The question for the native developers. So I guess native meaning either iOS or Android. So maybe let's give that question to Anya, since she was starting before as well. How do you feel about cross-platform development? Do you find it as a necessary evil, temporary trend, or rather do you look at Flutter React Native with curiosity?
Whoa, what a question. Really tricky one, so I will be very attentive while answering it. But honestly, I look at every technology as a tool which helps us in building some products. So sometimes I think it's better just to go with native development, but I don't look at those technologies as an evil. And yes, I might be curious, however, personally, I never had experience with those technologies, maybe yet.
Yeah, I can add to that it's quite funny because I'm working as an iOS developer, but I'm leading a React Native team, so I had to start learning React Native, and I think it's like equal technology to what we do in native development, but it has different use cases, basically. So it depends on what our client needs. Okay. Maybe other thoughts about that, guys? Maybe gaps from Android perspective?
Yeah, from Android perspective, I think that most of our developers, Android developers, are more looking forward to things like Flutter or Kotlin multi-platform. But to be honest, I don't have so much experience in building the application in like no React, no native way. So I had a couple of minutes spent in Flutter, some of basic projects in Kotlin multi-platform, and to be honest, thinking that Kotlin multi-platform is actually the very promising technology, as I'm a big fan of not creating layouts outside the native platforms, to be honest. Yeah, we can start arguing with that. Yeah, but so perspective, and I think that most of Android devs that we love Kotlin, so probably the Kotlin multi-platform is our main like goal there.
Yeah. As mentioned before, we do not have yet the Flutter team. It's we only have some Flutter enthusiasts in Netguru, but we are recruiting Flutter developers. So if you are interested, you can always join us here. But what about, maybe let's twist that question a bit and ask Paweł Wysowski from React Native team what he thinks about the native development.
So that's kind of tricky question, because I was thinking that, you will just ask me why React Native development is the best from all this approaches. But I think that there are some things that you can create easier and faster with React Native, but unfortunately, I have to say that native development is probably more mature, and it's like the best technology to create apps.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So let's move on to the next question. I don't see anything on the chat so far, so I will take just another one from Slido. So the question is from Patrick. How do you share knowledge across the team? And maybe let's allow Paweł Kozielecki to answer that question.
Yeah, sure. So basically, first of all, we have multiple initiatives inside our company, which focus on everything from, let's say, clean code, testability, to research and development, to security issues, to automatization, DevOps, and that kind of stuff. Basically, whatever is your interest, in here you can basically find a group of people that you can, better yourself with and help, improve that particular area. The thing is that it's not that obvious outside of Netguru, because sometimes, doing internal stuff like, maybe some research, maybe, some working on some internal tools is regarded as necessary evil in many companies, because in the way it's being shown, it's not where the money is made. Money is made in the product, which is obviously a very example of the short side of some managers. Furthermore, apart from the initiative, of course, there's your leader who can point you to, a mentorship or to learning materials you can use. Then, of course, there are meetings, which in case of iOS take place once a week on Friday, where we have multiple presentations, which basically cover all the possible subjects. Basically, the way it's being done is whenever you have something interesting, or you've been on a research project, or you just finished some delivery, or investigated some interesting piece of technology, you're very encouraged to share this knowledge openly. And honestly, it's a way to go. Well, despite obviously the sharing knowledge in projects, which is our day-to-day work, that projects are constructed in a way that there are at least one senior developer in, a complex project that is responsible for sharing knowledge with maybe some less experienced team members. So
yeah, that's the crucial part. I have a pleasure to work in a project with 2 senior developers present here on the call, and I'm learning every day. Like, really, guys, you are the best team members I can have. So huge kudos for you. Okay, moving on to the next question then. Ola asked, what are your daily tasks and what does a typical day look like? And we have quite a good group here to answer that, because we all, apart from development, of course, have some different responsibilities. As, for example, Anya and me we are team leaders. So maybe let's go back to Anya. And Anya, how does your typical day looks like when it comes to?
Thank you, Adam. My answer would be that I don't have a typical day. Because I think that every day is different. Some days can be full of different meetings, which are connected not only with my team, but or mobile related or a recruitment call. And some days can have just a stand up, and I am more focused on the development, on thinking about solutions, on code itself. However, each day I start from opening Slack, that's for sure, and checking any new messages that are appearing. And I think also I'm starting from the stand up, because usually I can't get myself to wake up earlier and start working from really early hours. But I think, yeah, Patrick, exactly. And I always start from coffee. If I won't start from coffee, that the day will be a bit less fun. So I think that the fact that each day is different is great, because it keeps the work very interesting.
Oh, right. And on the other hand, we have some guys here that start pretty early. For example, Paweł. Paweł Wysowski from my team, because the funny thing is that Paweł is also a member of my team in React Native team. So whenever I come to work, he's always online. So Paweł, why are you starting so early? And what is your routine then?
Well, that's probably because of my dogs, that, I have to walk them before the job. So yeah, that's because of them, basically. But I usually start work at 7:30 or something like that. And yeah, and basically I start with finishing tasks from the other day, if I had some. But if not, I'm just checking Slack and getting into pace. And then I just attempt to stand up if I'm assigned to the project. Also, when I'm not assigned, we have stand-ups in R&D, React Native R&D team. So yeah, and after that, I just start working on the project tasks or some research stuff when I'm on bench time, right?
Right. You mentioned bench because, as you may expect, we are a software consultancy company, so we don't have our own products. So we sometimes end up on a bench, and when we are on a bench, we tend to do R&D. So maybe Gabs, you can tell us something more about what is R&D, because some people may not know, of course, and how do we handle that in Netguru?
So R&D for research and development, and I'm pretty proud of Netguru that we are practicing this things because it allows us to grow. For example, my role as Android R&D leader is to maintain the growth, shape the direction in which our team moves forward. For example, we are experimenting, as I mentioned, because the multi-platform. We are investigating the newest libraries like Jetpack Hilt or Jetpack Compose. And what's really interesting about it, that you actually can learn something. You can use it on your own project and share this knowledge, as Paweł mentioned, on many layers, on for example, weekly meetings with your team. So we are maintaining the growth in this technical aspect in Netguru. So basically, I'm responsible for watching for people who are doing some research and development tasks. Muted, Adam. Or is it me only?
I was muted. Thank you. Oh, we have a question. We have a question from Robert on the chat, so I will jump straight to that. Best solutions for expanding knowledge in Netguru, independent way or Netguru initiatives. So maybe I will come back with this question to Paweł Wysowski, as recently he worked in a quite nice R&D project called Click and Collect. So maybe you can elaborate on that as well.
Yeah, I think this project gave me a lot of new experience, and yeah, so that's why I think Netguru's initiatives like R&D areas, because we have those things like mobile areas inside which we have some stuff to do. And I really like this R&D area where we develop some new projects or focus on researching particular things. But as Adam said, I've participated in Click and Collect project that Patrick described during his presentation just a few minutes ago, right? But basically it was a proof of concept of the app where you can just order some stuff from the stores and make it to be delivered to points of collection. And yeah, so I've gained a lot of experience there, and because we've worked just in team of 2 with one senior developer, and it was really nice time I had during these 3 weeks of development.
Yeah, thanks, Paweł. And as Radek, our engineering manager, wrote on the channel, yeah, always project is the best way to learn, because we get the practical aspects of learning, and not just some idea that we have in mind. But there's also always an opportunity to have individual goals and individual research. In order to do that, we just talk with our leaders and say that we want to really pursue one particular technology, and usually there is no point of stopping us in that. For example, me personally, last year I did quite a big research about Swift UI, and I even did one presentation on Mobile Warsaw meetup about it. So you can also learn individually here if you want, of course. Okay, we have another question on the chat from Jagoda. So the question is about iOS, so let's direct it to Paweł then. Our iOS tech lead. Jagoda is curious, what do you think about iOS development in near future? What direction is ahead? That's the best question for the tech lead, I guess.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, do we have an hour like that? Because I don't think I'll just, getting started. Basically, just very briefly, when in terms of the devices we have, basically we at a very interesting moment in history, because for the first time, as you all know, we have an Apple custom-made chips inserted in all the devices, including MacBooks. Very important for one particular reason. Right now, the same chips are basically used across different devices, so it would allow a kind of interaction, just write applications natively on all those devices at the same time, basically. Of course, we had like universal development, like Catalyst for iPads and Macs, but still on Macs it was kind of a simulated. As you can see for the new macOS, it's starting to look like an iOS or iPad OS, basically. So I think in the coming years, we can pretty safely assume that you will be able simply to connect your phone to the to your Mac, basically, or you combine, for instance, your iPad Pro with a proper keyboard and external screen, and just start developing or using as a normal PC. That's the technical point. About the iOS development, of course, we have SwiftUI, obviously, and of course, it has certain disadvantages. It's still in its infancy, but the way of developing visual components, the way it allows us to kind of experiment or prototype very quickly, it's basically unmatched. And as Patrick mentioned, yeah, we are going in the direction of Android. That's true. It's really funny that all those features that was shown upon a couple of years ago by Apple, saying, "Oh, we don't need, like touch and hold for interactions. We need simple gestures." The same way with dark mode, especially. And now it's all there. I mean, it's really a trend because Android is going the same way. Those systems are very similar right now in terms of all the experience, because quite frankly, we as the users kind of have the same, customs or ways to interact with the device, and there's limited way, you can do it originally. So basically, it's converging. The applications are, except maybe for platform-specific interface, they are more or less coming to the same point, which is fine, which in my opinion is nice, because I also like to develop for Android. I've done it for these couple of years together with iOS, so it's a good way to go. I know if I if I answered the question, it's a very wide subject. I could go on for hours, basically.
We can organize another meeting called "What is the future of iOS and Android and React Native?" separately for 3 hours. For sure, we would have a lot of speakers to talk about it. But let's come back to the questions that were asked by our audience before. So I'm coming back to slide as I can't find anything on the chat, but remember, you can always ask something on the chat live, so we can answer that. The next question is, do you cooperate between mobile teams, for example, iOS with Android, which is pretty delicate subject between and iOS and Android, but yes, we do. I will allow myself to answer that. Actually, recently this year, we introduced something called mobile areas in Netguru, and we have like mobile security area, mobile DevOps area, R&D area, recruitment area, and in these areas we have experts from all our teams, so Android, iOS, React Native, and also Flutter, to cooperating to, for example, create a project generator or good ways of analyzing the project conditions, or generally focusing on mobile security and supporting other devs. So we do that a lot this year, and it looks pretty good from my perspective. So I hope we will continue doing that in the future. And we also have, some lower level cooperations. Like, for example, recently we had something called React Native Academy. So for the native devs that were on the bench, React Native team organized a academy when they could learn some React Native code and how to create apps in React Native. And now we are working on the same academy, but the other ways. So iOS developers are preparing something for our React Native team, and then following will be Android team. So yeah, the cooperation is pretty high. Also, we have projects where we cooperate, like, React Native team is cooperating with native devs to deliver as high functionality as possible for our clients. Okay, let's move on to the next question. There is a question again for iOS. Sorry, guys, but are you interested in Objective-C only developers, or Swift if necessary for you? So it's a kind of recruitment thing. So maybe let's ask our recruitment specialist here, Anya. What do you think about it?
Actually, mostly currently we are using Swift in our project, but we have also sometimes project in Objective-C. So I would say that the main focus, of course, is on Swift. But at the same time, this is the thing that can happen.
Right. Since we are at the recruitment topic, maybe you could say a little bit more on what qualities do we look for when we open recruitment and between the devs that are applying.
Actually, I really liked the presentation of Przemek at the start, because he just answered during the whole presentation a bit about who are we looking for. Of course, we are checking the technical skills, but beyond that, we also always are looking for communication skills, for asking right questions and having the consultant mindset as well.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Przemek's keynote, it was the first one before the technical tracks. Since you are registered, you will receive the recordings, the link to the recordings. So I strongly recommend to follow up, because that was a great presentation with some great memes as well, and pictures of our teammates incorporated there. So I strongly advise to catch up, and also on the tracks you can rewatch them, all of them actually. Okay, so we have a couple more minutes, and the next question on Slido is what kind of projects do you have? So maybe I don't know, maybe Gabs, what do you think? What projects do you usually have? Like, it's hard topic, I know.
Yeah, it's really hard topic because you probably won't have two similar projects in Netguru, I would say. There are many of similar industries, I guess. For example, I am working on an application somehow with food delivery. There are some fintech applications, healthcare applications, even some government-based, I guess, applications. So it's really hard to tell what projects you can expect. I would say that you might expect the projects which will be mostly for like foreign clients. We mostly have clients from abroad, like USA, Europe. There are not so many from Poland, I guess. So yeah, it's really broad topic. I don't know how what else I can add. That's the best, I guess, in this the best in this answer is that you won't probably spot the same project like twice. So every project is something new.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, also
Continue.
To add that I agree 100% that all projects are different, and not only by the type, how do they look like or what do they have, but also in terms of teams. We can have a huge team, and somewhere we can have a smaller team. And the same goes for the tools we used, not only in regarding to the language, Swift or Objective-C, but the internal tools can be different. And what we try to do at Netguru is find the best match for developer, or not only developer, and for the project. And basically that's what I wanted to add, as well as we also sometimes have internal projects, but I think that we covered it a bit already also.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, so guys, we have 2 more minutes in our panel, and I'm slowly running out of questions. So we think on the list. So the next question. There's okay. Thanks for Paweł. So that's not a question, but yeah. So the next question is, what is the role of the tech lead? And yeah, Paweł, I guess you are the best one to answer that, since you are a tech lead.
Imagine my shock. But basically, yeah. To answer that, I would have to kind of quote my full job title, so to speak, which is basically Senior Software Engineer, iOS Technical Lead. That implies more or less what I do first and foremost, and it's a project assignment. We are still developers, and it's a very good thing, because obviously I couldn't imagine, keeping up with technology, doing this job without daily access to the code, basically working on a real project. It's simply impossible. Also, when we are continuing the project subject, Przemek had brilliant presentation about what senior developers are like, and I agree 100%. My goal always was to be more than just a code monkey, basically. I could have never agreed to a job where I would have, just to come in, clock the time card and just type code for 8 hours, then just go home, not care about the product. I do. I always try to be a bridge between a client, and basically allowing a client and what they want to achieve. Try to help them to understand what actually they want to achieve by doing this application, because what they want and what they tell you that they want, they're usually two different things. Of course, apart from that assignment, we also do a lot of internal work, obviously. We take part or lead in different internal initiatives. For instance, the one I'm taking care of is called iOS Good Practices, which we basically focus on developing basically tools to ensure proper quality of code and testability in our projects, to monitor them remotely, to, of course, do knowledge sharing, prepare different learning materials and that kind of stuff. Of course, whenever needed, we are consultants either to our clients or with tech talks with other companies. Yeah, more or less that's it. It's a lot of stuff. You never get bored, basically.
Okay, thank you. So I think we have time for the one last question, and I found one pretty interesting actually at the bottom of the Slido. Not upvoted, but I decided, since I'm a moderator and I'm empowered to do that, to just break the rules a little, because I want to ask this question to Paweł Wysowski, our React Native developer here on board. The question is, Paweł, wait, I have to scroll again. So in case... there is no discussion, but issues with, for example, native module when you're working in the project, can you count on native devs' help? Can you recall an example of cooperation between the React Native developers and native devs?
Yeah, of course. I've cooperated with one Android developer, and also I've discussed some things with Adam, who is iOS developer, right? So they were very helpful. So I had no issues, bridging the native module without, deep knowledge of both of these technologies.
Yeah, that was the last thing I wanted you to hear, because actually it doesn't matter if you are Android, iOS, or React Native or Flutter developers. In the end, we are a whole mobile team, and I really like that in our Netguru team and mobile department. Huge kudos for our management that they managed to do that somehow, and not calm down this iOS and Android war and incorporate the cross-platform thing as well. Okay, guys, I think it's a wrap. We can finish a little. Let me just show you one more slide that I really carefully curated and prepare. So yeah, I think thanks, and see you next time. I hope you really liked our presentations, and remember to give feedback, and hopefully see you next time, because I hope it's not the last of Netguru Hangout mobile series. Have a good evening and goodbye.
Bye bye.
Thanks. Bye.
See ya.
Thank you guys. Take care. Good night.